Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's The Art of Possible with Generative AI. And today we'll be looking at how you can leverage Microsoft Copilot in your PowerPoint workflows. This webinar is brought to you by Cedar Island's European Digital Innovation Hub, and it's sponsored by the European Union and Enterprise Island. Just before we get started, let's quickly have a run through of our agenda for today. We'll just quickly touch on why PowerPoint takes time, and we'll move on to look at what exactly can Copilot do to help in streamlining your PowerPoint workflows. We will then go on to look at the need for you to have an organizational template in your PowerPoint workflows, especially if you work in a public sector organization or you work in an SME where you need to adhere to a certain kind of template. We'll then move on to quickly have an overview of how you can create a deck from existing file, maybe from a document, a Word document, or a PDF, or maybe even an image or just a prompt. And then we'll touch on how you can rewrite text-heavy slides into summaries or bullet points to make it presentable. And I will also show you how you can add speaker notes with the help of Copilot into your slides to make you prepare better for your presentation and also to make your presentation seamless as well. And we'll touch on how you can summarize and interrogate your deck if you want to get a summary of the entire presentation, or you want to ask it to suggest possible questions that those that will be attending your presentation might ask. And we'll move on to look at the prompt formula you can adhere to for you to get the best out of Copilot in your PowerPoint presentations. We'll then move on to look at current limitations of Copilot in PowerPoint and the responsible use of Copilot. And we'll go into the major part of the webinar today, which is the demo session. And we move on to our key takeaways and lastly, the Q&A session. Once again, my name is Joshua and I have with me my colleagues, Suraj and Sarah, who would be helping me out in the question and answer box. Here's a quick disclaimer. Any views or opinions expressed by me or my colleagues today are strictly our own views and opinions and do not represent those of our funders, and any trademark shown today are those of their respective owners. Now, let's quickly look into why there's a need for you to use Copilot. It's majorly because PowerPoint usually takes time. For me personally, it can be stressful trying to brainstorm on how exactly you want your slide to look like, what images would like to impute, or what icons would you like to see on your slide. So it can be challenging trying to start from a blank page to create a slide. And then there's also the difficulty of staying consistent with your organizational template. Like in our own organization, we have a template that everyone is expected to adhere to, and it can be difficult trying to generate a slide from scratch and trying to move around the logos, the images that is expected to be included in your own presentation. And also, there can be difficulties in trying to refine the message of a slide presentation from, let's say, for example, from a non-technical audience to a technical audience or vice versa. It might be time consuming trying to change the wordings, trying to change the tone, and all of those. Now, this is how Copilot can help in all of these identified challenges in the PowerPoint workflows. Copilot can immediately help draft, a presentation by just a 2-line of prompt or 3 lines of prompt. You can automatically generate something that you can begin to improve or build on. Copilot can also help to turn existing file, maybe a Word document or a PDF document, into a slide deck and write inside your organizational template. Copilot can also help to add slides into your slide deck. With a prompt, you can ask it to add a slide on responsible AI use, or you can ask it to add a slide from a document you are attaching to it, and it would read the contents of that document and create a slide within your other slide decks. You can also rewrite slide tests for clarity and tone. Like I mentioned, you can change the target audience that you want to do the presentation for. You can as well generate speaker notes. Like creating slides is one thing, but also trying to, articulate your speaker notes is also another thing. So this is something that Copilot can automatically do by reading through your slides and generating a note for each slide. And you can ask it to generate a note, for example, for a 12-minute presentation or a 30-minute presentation. Copilot can also help to summarize and ask questions about the deck. You could ask it to summarize the 5 main lessons from the whole slides, or you can ask it to generate 10 possible questions that the audience might ask you in the course of your presentation. Now, we are going to get into a practical session where I get to demo all of this, but I just need to take us through the theoretical aspects of what Copilot can do, so you can get inspired outside the demo that I would be doing, because people from different walks of life or different industries or different organizations are on this webinar, and the demo might not be one size fit all, but if you understand the theoretical aspects, you will be able to tailor whatever I demo to your own use cases. So like I said, it's always good to start with an organizational template if your organization has one, so you can stay in touch with what is recommended by your organization. For example, when it comes to layout, you can have a template that includes what an agenda page for a presentation slides in your organization looks like. You can have a timeline page, you can have a summary slide page, and when you input that template into Copilot, it can use that template to generate your own slides for you. You can, with organizational template as well, you can ensure that you are keeping in touch with your brand style, like what your organizational logo looks like, what images, what kind of icons are you allowed to use, just to keep in touch with your brand identity. And then it helps with consistency as well, to ensure that you're not doing a certain kind of presentation this time and the next time you're doing something different entirely. Now, for you to be able to create a deck from an existing file, all you need to do is prepare a Word document or a PDF document, and you need to arrange it properly. You need to provide it with well-defined headings, well-defined bullet points, well-defined sections. So by the time you're uploading it into your PowerPoint Copilot chat, it can use those different demarcations to create the slides for you, and the slide will adhere to the different headings, the different sections that you have included in your source document. And you would also need to specify your requirements. You need to tell it what number of slides you require for the source documents to be transformed into a PowerPoint slide. You need to tell it what the target audience is. You need to tell it the desired tone that you'll be expecting. For example, if you look at the demo prompt on the screen, it says create a presentation from the attached webinar brief document. Create an 8-slide deck with speaker notes for a practical mixed audience. And when you attach the webinar brief document, you can immediately generate a slide. You can as well rewrite text-heavy slides. For example, you can turn long paragraphs on a particular page of a slide deck into bullet points or summarized notes just with a single prompt, just telling it to transform these long paragraphs into bullet points. You can immediately see changes. Like, so you can add speaker notes as well, and you need to you can generate notes based on your target audience. So you need to specify the conversational tone that you expect, and you need to specify what time frame you would want the speaker notes to be based on, and it's going to match your delivery window. To summarize and interrogate the desk, you can ask Copilot for, like, example 5 bullet point summary to capture the key messages. You can interrogate it further. How can I best improve on this presentation? You can ask it to identify gaps in your presentation. Like I said earlier on, you can ask it to suggest possible questions that can be asked. And you can use this to prepare for what your closing, your opening speech should look like, and so on. So to be able to get the best out of your prompting of Copilot, it is important to adhere to this formula that has been provided by Microsoft, which is number one, you need to have a goal. What should Copilot do for you? What are you expecting from it? Number two, you need to provide context. What do you need it for? Do you need it for a technical audience or a non-technical audience? Do you need it for your executive board, or you need it for the training team, or you need it for the HR team? Next, you need to provide expectation, tone. Do you need it in 8 pages or 10 pages? Do you need it to include images or no images at all? Do you need it to just include bullet points all through the slides? You need to set the expectation right. And lastly, you need to provide your source documents. Do you want it to get the information from the internet or from your own files in your SharePoint, or you want it to get it from an attached document or from an attached image? Now, here are the current limitations when you're using Copilot in PowerPoint. So there's currently a limitation as to the number of words you can paste into it, representing your prompt. So you need to be mindful of this. Also, the rewrite feature only works on text boxes and not on your images or your icons. And you can't just select a part of a text within a page and ask it to somehow to rewrite that. It's going to rewrite the entire text on page. And also, Copilot in PowerPoint is always just the starting point for you, and not your final version, because there might be mistakes or errors. So you need to always check, because AI generated content can be misleading at times. Now, there's a quick responsible use checklist when you're using Copilot in your PowerPoint for your organizational purpose. You need to check for accuracy and possible missing context from your restricted information. You need to respect your organizational AI policy. If there are certain information you've been asked not to impute into generative AI tools, you need to be mindful of those. You can refine the tone to fit whatsoever audience or your target audience, and you need to be mindful of bias in whatsoever text that the AI has generated. Next, you need to confirm that all the pages fit your brand and accessibility standards. During our demo session, you might see some mistake with some pages not having the brand logo, because I experienced that in one of my demos. So you would need to be mindful of those kind of situations. And lastly, there's always a need to keep human approval in the workflow. There's always a need for human in the loop. So now we'll just go straight into our demo session. And before we get started, I would just like to mention that I've had better experience using Copilot in PowerPoint on the cloud rather than on the native PowerPoint application on my laptop. When I used my laptop and I'm using it for heavy purposes, it crashes most of the time. So personally, I find it's better using it on the cloud. And that is what I'm going to be doing. At the moment, I'm going to be doing the demo from the cloud, and you're going to see how I would do that. So all I need to do is go to powerpoint.cloud.microsoft. And if your organization has given you full access to Copilot, you can just go through this website as well, powerpoint.cloud.microsoft, and you'll be able to access Copilot in PowerPoint. So I'm just going to click over here, upload a file, and I'm going to upload a sample organizational template, which is this over here. And we'll see what it looks like and we'll begin to work on it based on certain prompts. So this is a fictional company called North-Star Services. So in your own case as well, all you need to do is to get your organizational templates, then let it know that this is where the presentation title goes. This is the opening page for the agenda layout. This is what it should look like. So topic 1, topic 2, topic 3. So whatever source document you're attaching, by the time you activate Copilot and you impute it there and you paste the prompt, it's going to use the slide to generate your agenda layout as well. And we have this for section dividers. We have, if it needs to use a 2-column layout, we are expecting it to use something like this. If we need 3 card layouts, we expect this. If there's a need for timeline layout, we expect it to follow this template. And if we need a risk and control layout, or we need this kind of layout for any other thing, we expect it to use this exact template over here. And we expect it to use this as a closing slide. So what I would do right now is to click on this Copilot at the bottom right of your PowerPoint. So by the time I click on it, it's going to activate the Copilot chat pane. And at times it might take time to come up because it freezes at times. So I've clicked on it, but it hasn't. Yeah, it's popping up now. Yeah. So another thing I need you to be mindful of is if you want Copilot to effect changes inside your slide, you need to have this. If you can see my cursor over here, you need to have this set to allow editing. If it's set to chat only, you can only interact with the slides, but you can't get Copilot to effect changes inside your slides. So you need to always have this set to allow editing over here. And you can change so Copilot is powered by the ChatGPT models. So you can choose whatsoever, but I usually set mine to the auto mode. So now what we want to do is to create a presentation slide based on this template over here. So I'm going to just retrieve our very first prompt over here, and we attach our source documents to it. So I have a prompt here that says, create a presentation from this file, create an 8-slide deck for a practical webinar audience. So the demo I'm doing today is showcasing me preparing for a webinar on Copilot in PowerPoint webinar. So we are asking you to create an 8-slide deck for a practical webinar audience, include session, and the purpose should be why PowerPoint takes time, what Copilot can do, how organizational templates help, best practice prompting, responsible use, demo plan, key takeaways, and use a clear professional tone, and include speaker notes. So we are going to upload our source document, which is this file, Copilot in PowerPoint webinar brief. I've uploaded the file, and let me just open the file as well for us to see what it looks like before. Okay, so I'm just going to hit the enter button now for it to start, and I'll open the file to show us what the file actually looks like. That's our source document. Just a moment. I need to get it from the cloud, so it takes some time to. Okay, it's coming up now. So we can see, if you look at the chat pane by the right, you can see that Copilot has started effecting some process. It's gathering information, it's analyzing our request, and it's planning the slide structure based on the instructions and the prompt I gave to it. And this is the source documents that we are using. Yeah, it's just taking some time to come up because when I'm retrieving documents from the cloud, it takes some time on my laptop. So we have the source document over here. Oh, no, sorry, hold on. Oh, it's freezing. Oh, yeah, I mean, it's still coming up. It's freezing for some reason, but we can see that Copilot is taking time to effect all of the requests that we've made. And by the time it's ready, we'll see that. So at the moment, we have 8 slides inside this deck presentation. But by the time it's done, you would see that it might increase to about 16 or 14 or 15 based on we've asked for 8 pages. We have 8 pages at the moment. So we are going to see about 16 slides by the time it's done. Okay, there are some issues with the source document coming up from the cloud, but I have it saved inside my inside my PC as well. So I'll just retrieve it from there instead. Okay, yeah, it's coming up now. So we are expecting it to use this opening page as the opening page for the presentation that we've asked for. And here's our source document right here. So this is the source document. We have you can see that I have taken time to demarcate the headings, the different sections, the bullet points. So it's going to generate the slide based on this source document that I've attached to it. And we are going to have a slide on the section purpose, why this topic matters, Copilot in PowerPoint, what attendees need to know. There's going to be a presentation on that in the slide. We are going to also have a presentation on core capabilities to demonstrate. And we're also going to have best practice for prompting as well, responsible use, demonstration plan, down to key takeaways for attendees and suggested closing message. So you see, we've asked for 8 pages. So let's see how it's put together these 10 different sections into 8 pages. Yeah, I can see someone raised their hands. I don't know if they have any question they're trying to ask. So we can see that PowerPoint is, Copilot is done making some changes to the slides now. We had 8 pages initially, but if you look down here, we have 17 pages. So I'm just going to click on done, and you can click on undo as well if you don't like the effects that it has made. So we can see now that we have, based on this initial templates that we had, because it still leaves the pages of your templates inside and you need to delete them off yourself. But you can see it has used the same template to create this opening page for the webinar presentation that I've asked it to generate for me. It has also created a page for the section purpose. And it's also created why presentation creation takes time. And it's created that over here. The same templates that we had here for 2-column layout, it has used it over here as well to do a 2-column presentation of what Copilot can do for you. And we have a singular one for how organizational templates help. It's also done the best practice prompting slide. We have the responsible use slide. We have the demo plan slide, which we also had in our source document over here. You can see that it's fetched all of those information from our source document. Then we have the key takeaways page. So now we want to do, some of these pages look very test heavy. So we just want to test some prompts to see, other things you can do with Copilot on this particular slide deck that it is generated. So I'm still going to leave in these previous ones that were part of the template we provided to it. So in the source document, if we had a timeline inside of it, it would have used this as well to generate a timeline page for your presentation. So I'm just going to go ahead and paste this prompt into Copilot. A moment. So we want to ask for some transformation inside this document. And the first thing we want to do is we want to ask it to add, for example, to add a slide into the page with just a singular prompt. So we already have a slide on prompt formula, I believe, which is okay. So we don't have a slide on prompt formula, but I want to give it a prompt to add this page on prompt formula. So all I need to do is paste this prompt over here. Add a slide called the prompt formula. Show this formula clearly. Audience plus task plus context plus format equals to better Copilot output. Include one example prompt for creating a PowerPoint deck from a Word file. Use a simple visual layout. So if you go back to the source document, you would notice that we actually had a section for best practice prompting over here, but for some reason it has failed to include it inside the slide here. Okay, we have it here, best practice prompting. We have it here actually, but I'm still going to give an instruction to add another slide called the prompt formula, and let's see how it's able to effect that. And as always, it's going to take some time to do that. It's not just going to effect that within the blink of an eye. It's going to take it some time to understand the instruction given to it and to think of the best way to effect the prompt. So I've asked it to impute a new slide based on a singular prompt. The next thing I'm going to show to us is how you can impute another slide based on another source document different from the initial source document I gave to it. And in doing that, I'm going to copy this prompt. So it's still running, but I'm just going to keep this prompt here while it's running to effect another page or another slide based on a prompt, no source document, just based on this instruction here, it's going to create a slide. And the next thing we are going to get it to impute another slide page based on a source document. And we are going to be using these documents named responsible use and best practice checklist. So I'm going to upload this over here, responsible use file. And I'm just going to wait because it's still running, and that's why I can't hit the enter button here. So I'm just going to wait for it to be done running, and I can send this next instruction. So in your own workflow as well, this is how you take time to make changes to your slide deck rather than spending time trying to brainstorm what to do. With this, you can immediately start having a feel of what your final destination is in your slides. Yeah, because like I said, personally, it's quite stressful for me trying to brainstorm without seeing anything that I should be working with. But but with a template and with the help of Copilot, you can have something you can start working with and improve on. And you can ask for images as well if you don't want this to be just these icons and these layouts. You can ask for images. So now it's done, and it has. Let's go look for the page that's imputed called. Okay, so we have this now called the prompt formula, and the instruction we gave to it to add this audience plus task plus context plus format. It's done that over here. And we can see what it said about what each part means, and an example prompt has been written here. So next, let's send in this next prompt and let's see. Like I said, we've effected this based on a prompt alone, but now we are adding another slide based on a source document and based on a prompt as well. So I'm going to show us what that source document looks like. I'm going to show that to us so we can verify to see if it's made some mistakes from the source document and to what it's actually showing inside the slide. So this is the source document for the responsible use and best practice checklist. So we can see that it contains all of these, and let's see how it summarizes all of this inside the slide to make it look more presentable. It's probably going to use the two column layouts to do this, or the three, but it's still running. And let's go and check if there's been some inconsistencies in the brand logo. So this is the supposed brand logo. So you expect every page. It's not on this page because it's the opening page, but you can see over here it doesn't have that not services, but it has it over here. And these are some of the mistakes it can make at times that you can easily just copy this. You can easily just copy this and go paste it inside here if you want it here. And we fixed that already. So we have it here. We have it here. So it's moved it away from where it ought to be. So these are just little tweaks you need to do yourself. So let's check if every page has these logos over here. So this has it, but this is supposed to be not start services over here, not Copilot in PowerPoint. You can see it's correct over here. So these are some of the mistakes you can see. You can see this is correct. This is correct as well. Then over here, it doesn't have it. So all you need to do again is just copy this. All you need to do is copy this, go into that particular slide where you don't have it, paste it, and we fix that. But for some reason, let me paste it again. Yeah, so you can just move it around to where you need it to be over here, and you fix that. Yeah, so these are some of the things you need to look out for. We can see over here as well, it's writing Microsoft Copilot, but what it should actually write is not Star Services and not Microsoft Copilot, because that's what we had in the template we submitted to it. So it's done affecting the instruction we gave it, asking it to add another slide based on this source document responsible use checklist. So let's go and see if that is done already. So this is the one that was generated from the initial prompt, but this is the new instruction that we gave to it, that the title should be responsible use checklist. You can see this was responsible use, but the new one is responsible use checklist. And it has provided all of these bullet points to summarize what was in the source document. Yeah. So the source document had this initially. The source document had this, but it's reduced the textual content into this. So now let's give it another instruction to rewrite this test every slide. So let's give it this instruction now. And we are going to ask for an image as well. So we want to, or maybe let's look for another much more heavier slide. Okay, let's go with this and let's paste this instruction here. So we are asking it to condense this slide into 4 short bullet points suitable for a presentation slide. You write this slide for a senior leadership audience. make it concise, strategic, and focused on brand consistency. Include a Microsoft Copilot image. So I'm expecting it to impute an image that has a logo like this, and I expect it to get it from the internet. So we are going to see that now. I'm going to send in the prompt. So we are going to see how it transforms this particular slide. It's going to make it less text. It's going to have an image, and it's going to change the tone of this slide for a senior leadership audience. So I hope for those that have joined in, you can immediately start seeing how Copilot can help you transform your presentation slides just from your organizational template and you having a source document that you have prepared for this. When this is done, the next thing we'll be doing is to check our speaker notes. I know we asked it to do that initially, but we are going to check again to see if the speaker notes are good enough, if we want to change the tone of the speaker notes for another audience. So it's still taking time to work on this page because we are expecting it to generate an image that has a Microsoft Copilot logo. We are also expecting it to change the tone to that is fit and suitable for a senior leadership audience. So this is also how you can change the tone of your presentation from, let's say, from a junior team to a more senior team, or from an internal team to your external clients. That's how you can use Copilot to change the tone here and there as well. So in effecting our instruction, it's currently adjusting the slide layout over here. I'm sure in order to make it fit for it to be able to impute an image. And right now it's generating the image that it wants to use. It's considering the image creation. So in case you're not pleased with the image it has provided, you can always reiterate and refine. And I could have asked for, personally, I like to have more visuals on my presentation. But the reason why I haven't asked for that over here is because it takes time, and that might that might take too much of our each page. Trying to get an image for each page is going to take too much of our time in this demo. So that's why I've kept it to more tests and just showing you one example of how you can impute an image as well, so it doesn't eat too much into our time. So right now it's confirming visually from its own end the image it wants to use, and by the time it's done, it's going to show that image to us. So while it's still doing that, I'm going to go ahead to get the next prompt that we want to give to it. So when it's done generating this, we are going to check, because from the very first instruction, we asked it to include speaker notes, use a clear and professional tone, and include speaker notes. So it must have done that already, but we want to work on the notes a bit. So now it's generated this. Look at the image it's generated. It's not what we asked for. We asked for an image. Okay, so it has a bit of a Copilot image over here, but it's not exactly what I was expecting. But I might come back to that and ask it to get a stock image of an actual Microsoft Copilot logo. But we can see that it's transformed the initial content here into these 4 bullet points. So if you have a particular way you want your bullet points to look like, all you need to do is to have that set out in your organizational templates, because this was the original template that I provided that is working with. So you can always tweak these things on your template, so next time it follows those instructions. So let's quickly check if there's a speaker note and what it looks like. So we have the presenter view here. And let's see if there's a speaker note. It's still loading, so we can see it didn't actually implement the speaker notes that we asked in the initial prompt. And that's why you need to always cross-check. So now what we need to do is to actually ask it to add speaker notes to each slide. The presenter has 12 minutes to deliver this section. Keep the notes clear, conversational, and practical. So we've sent in that prompt now, and let's see what it does by adding a speaker note. And I'll just go ahead and retrieve our next prompt while we are waiting for it. So this is going to be our next and final prompt. And if we still got time, I'll go back to try and work on this image because it's not looking exactly as what I expected. I can see the Copilot logo inside the robots in this image, but it's not the color that I wanted. It's not looking exactly like an actual Copilot logo. So I want to get it to actually get a stock image from the internet to be able to fix this, but I don't want to interrupt with it while another instruction is going on at the moment. So it's currently adding speaker notes and it's done adding the speaker notes. So let's check and see if it's actually added the speaker notes. Yeah, so you can see now we have a speaker notes. Welcome everyone and thanks for joining this webinar on Copilot in PowerPoint. It has speaker note for this page as well. It has a speaker note for this page, this, and every other page, I believe. I'll just go ahead and confirm. Yes, we have. And it might have generated speaker notes for the templates page as well. There was none initially, but because we asked it to generate a speaker note all through. So the moment you've used your organizational template to generate some slides, you can go ahead and delete pages like this that were contained in the original template. You can go ahead and delete them off because it's still going to keep them in case you want to add more instructions that may need it using this timeline layout, for example. So we've been able to see how you can add speaker notes. So next, we want to ask it to summarize this presentation in 5 bullets. What are the major important takeaways for attendees? What are the main responsible use messages in this presentation? Create 5 likely questions the audience may ask after this webinar, and create a 60-second closing summary for the presenter. So we are not expecting Copilot to effect these questions inside the slide. We are only asking it to present us an output in this chat pane based on the questions that we've asked. I believe the questions are straightforward enough, and we don't expect it to. I haven't encountered it making that mistake, but peradventure it makes that mistake, you would need to check out to ensure that it doesn't impute any of this in your slides. You're only asking it to give you a summary, to create 5 likely questions. So while it's doing that, I will just prepare a question and a prompt that I need for you to change this to an actual Microsoft Copilot logo. Can you use an actual stock Copilot logo for the image? Or I can say, can you use an actual, let me add Microsoft for much clarity, Microsoft Copilot logo for Microsoft Copilot. So that's the instruction we are going to give for it to make changes to this image. But while it's doing that, while we are waiting to do that, it's still trying to provide an output to our question. So we asked for summarize this presentation in 5 bullets so we can see the response over here. It's done that over here. We've also asked for 3 most important takeaways for attendees, which are better prompts produce better results. Copilot saves time but not judgment. It still needs your human final approval. Templates and governance matter in organizational settings. Main responsible use messages: check accuracy, protect sensitive information, maintain brand consistency, keep human accountability, use AI as support, not autopilot. Likely audience questions: how much time can Copilot realistically save? Maybe anybody has that question that I want to ask, but if you're preparing for a presentation, this is how you can check for possible questions that the audience can ask you. They can also ask questions like, how detailed does a prompt need to be, and so on. We also ask for a 60-second closing summary, the core message, practical takeaways, final notes. So lastly, let's try and work on this image and see if it improves on it. And in some instances, you might need to iterate, iterate, and refine over and over again for you to get your desired output. But this is just to quickly show us how you can do this based on your own personal use cases. So it's currently determining how to implement. Okay, so I just saw that Suraj sent me a message that the participants can't see the source documents. So, okay. So I would just do that now. I would try and show it to us again now. I believe you can see it now. So the second source document was the responsible use best practice checklist that we used for the second attachment we did. So these were the contents of the responsible use and best practice checklists that I gave to Copilot. And so this was where it got the responses for the responsible use checklist slide inside the deck. And the first document was this. Was this one. So this was our original source document that I attached for it to use in creating the slide. So in this, I had the section purpose, I had why this topic matters, I had what attendees need to know, core capabilities, and the rest of them. So for the best practice prompting, we had a slide on this that contained this information. We generated another slide for the prompt formula, just trying to replicate what was shown from this part of the document. So those are the 2 source documents, and I'm going to be sending them to you after the webinar. So you can see over here, we asked for an actual Copilot stock image logo, and you can see now that this is done, and I'm not very conversant with with editing images inside Copilot PowerPoint because I use Canva personally. But yeah, so you can see that it's a transparent background. You can change the background if you want to, or you can ask Copilot to go ahead and help you do that. So, but we can see that now I'm pleased that I'm seeing an actual logo of Copilot inside the slide. And personally, one of the frustrating things about presentation slides as well for me is trying to get the best image that fits the context that I am working on. So maybe let's try that, asking it to generate a stock image that fits the context of the slide as our final prompt before we go into our Q&A session. So impute a stock image that befits this page. So for me, I would have to go to the internet. I would have to be browsing here and there, trying to get a particular image that might befit a particular context in my presentation. But with this, you can save that time by just getting an option, or you can actually ask it for 2 different options for you to choose from. But yeah, it's currently taking time to analyze that request. And while it's doing this final instruction, I just want to put up the poll to get your feedback on this webinar, and we go into our Q&A immediately. And would appreciate if you could take some time to fill the poll that has been put up in order to help us improve on our subsequent webinars. And you can also let us know what areas you would like us to do a subsequent webinar on as well. And if you've missed our previous webinars in this Copilot series, you can send me an email. I can send you the prompt packs from the Word webinar and the Excel webinar. And the recordings are on YouTube as well. So you can see over here, I asked for it to generate an image that befits this page. We were talking about responsible use checklist, and we can see an image of 2 individuals in an organizational setting looking at a document that might supposedly be a checklist. So this is how you can impute images into your own pages as well. I would have asked for images all through, but like I said, that would be time consuming. That's why I just did this and this. So this is, if you struggle like me in getting the right image for your presentation slides, you can use this trick over here. So now let's go to our key takeaways and then our question and answer. So I believe from this webinar today, you must have seen the need for you to start with an organizational template in order to stick to the policies around presentations in your organization, and to ensure that there's consistency in your presentations as well. And then you need to ground your presentations in a source document, not from the model's own training data, but from a source document from your organization, and most importantly, approved source documents. You also need to stick to the prompting formula of providing the Copilot with a goal, with a context, expectation, and source. And then, just like we did in this webinar during the demo session, sometimes we needed to shorten the textual content on the screen. We needed to change the tone. We needed to restructure and adapt the images as well. So there's a need for you to keep this in mind when you're using Copilot. And lastly, there's a need for you to review everything before sharing or presenting them to your audience. So this takes us to the final part of this webinar, the Q&A session. So I don't know if there's anyone who has a question, or Suraj, were there any questions that were sent that you would need me to respond to?
No, Josh, there were a few. I just answered them. That's all.
Oh, okay. Anyways, thank you everyone for joining us today, and I hope you've been inspired by what Copilot is able to do for you in your PowerPoint workflows, and we look forward to seeing you in our subsequent webinars. Thank you, and enjoy the rest of your week. Bye for now. And thank you, Suraj. Thank you, Sarah, for joining in and helping with the questions.
Thank you, Joshua, for your time. Thank you, Suraj. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Josh. Thanks, Al.
Thank you. Bye.